What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, and welcome to the final part of the HasLab Omega Prime or Godfire Convoy. We're gonna cover all the extra bits I have yet to talk about first. Obviously, we have talked about Fire Convoy himself, but we haven't talked about this display base road. I forget what exactly is called in either Japanese or in the American version, but this came apart in several pieces. Oh god, knocking my camera over because you can take this piece off and you can take that piece off. But there you go. These are permanently connected. There are ports. I don't know what you can plug into it, but there are ports. But yeah, it comes with these to connect them, but you can each have two different ones if you wanted two different display bases, because it does come with not one but two stands. So if you want one for Fire Convoy, you want one for God Magnus, but you do need for Magnus these adapter pieces. This one has it already connected, this one's ready for Optimus Prime, and you pretty much set them up in the same way. So you just take these little divots into this little slot, slide that in. Oh god, that's a little tight. There you go. And there you go, you have your stand. I guess we really don't need you, Fire Convoy, at the moment. We need Magnus, who is in robot mode, off to the side, and we will take a look at that giant looming sword. But you take these two pegs, if I can grab him without knocking things over, Magnus, and you can see that there's a port here and here, and that is where you will plug him in so it can kind of grip his crotch. So you just slide it in and it should peg in. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to see, but once you got it in, it will not have a problem. And there you go. You got him on the stand. And there you go. He's not going anywhere. If you wanted to get him in some actual in the air poses of some sort, if you really wanted those kind of dynamic poses, since he really doesn't have a waist, so it doesn't really matter. But if you wanted to use it with Fire Convoy, give me a second. I have to transform him. Alright, here's Fire Convoy all transformed. So to get him, let's give him a display stand too. We got Magnus. You do the same thing. You just slide it over here, and then you slide this down. Boom. Yeah, it's a little tight. That's the one thing I don't like about them. It's they're a little too tight. But you take the little plug on his back, and you slide it in, and boom, you got him on a display stand. But you can obviously tell he is probably meant to be in his super mode or Omega Prime mode for the base, because his feet are not reaching the ground from how tall this is. But he doesn't have a problem standing, so he doesn't really need it. So there's that. But since they're on the display stands, let's take a look at the Matrix Blade. This is a huge sword, which, if I remember correctly, is just a reuse of a Japanese Fortress Maximus, which I think was just the Fortress Blade or Fortress Sword. It can come apart into pieces if you really wanted to. No reason to really do that with this one, but hey, storage, I guess. And you just put it back together. And this is a huge sword. I will probably not be able to get this into frame all by itself. It is huge. It is tall. It is taller than the figure. It's taller than Omega Prime. And you can mess with the handle. You have to put it together, so you got to put this handle together. But it does come apart at several little instances, and you do have a little drill at the bottom. Yeah, you can really only... So you can make it any handle length that you really want. And neither of them on their own can hold it, only Omega Prime can. So, I guess it is time that we get to Omega Prime. So, we are going to start with getting the stands out of here. If we're going to be honest, we're going to get the stands out of here and not worry about them until he is Omega Prime. They're going to go away, and I am not going to think about them for like a little bit. So, same goes with Magnus's. Magnus will go back there. For we will start with Fire Convoy first, because Fire Convoy, I'm not going to really go into detail. You just do what you need to do to get him into super mode. So, you flip the head back in, flip that back, flip these down for now, pull his arms out, and flip his heels in, and he is ready to go. He is ready to go into Omega Prime mode. That is what Prime needs to do. He can go off to the side now. So, I find this really funny. After my recording of the God Magnus, or the Magnus video, I had to do a test run to make sure I understood how to turn him into Omega Prime, and I was like, I'll laugh if they made the turning him into armor way easier than turning him into a truck. And yeah, that's what they did. So let's start off with just taking these pieces off. They're going to be gloves, so take them apart. We're just going to take him apart. That's what we're doing. We're not going to do the handshake. We did that at the ending of the last video. So yeah, you got that. We're going to take apart his waist, and we're going to do the legs first. The legs are going to be first. I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit so we can see this. We are going to split the legs, and you will just kind of return it to how it once was in this mode. But now, the fun part of this is you flip this out, and once again, you are going to spread this foot piece. You're going to bring it down. But at the same time, you see this double joint. You're going to fold. Oh, wait. You've got to disconnect this part and this part. And you're just going to collapse it like this for now. And you fold it up on the double hinge. You fold the foot down, which the foot is going to peg in right here. And it'll stay in place the best it can. But you also push this little piece down. Boom. And this will become a kneecap. And you got Omega Prime's foot right there. And then you just peg this back in. And you also need to be able to have this in place. And I would not say fully connect this yet. Wait until you're gonna connect it onto Prime himself. But this is one side of his boot ready to go. And that was pretty quick. That was pretty fun. I think it's really easy. And second verse is very much the same as the first. You just push this piece back down. Unhinge this. Kind of crumple it up together. Pull the foot out. And then fold this. Okay, wait. Fold this out. Fold the foot. And then you disconnect it. Disconnect the foot. Have it flip around. Push this little foothold out so it can peg in. And boom. And you push this piece of grate to connect onto it so it can be all solid. And like I said, do not fully connect it yet because it'll be easier for when you are connected to Prime. And you are supposed to just keep these like long feet out. So there is that. There is his shoes. So yeah, all his legs collapse into these pretty nice shoes, which I think is really cool. So we won't attach it yet. All right, let's get to the main chest piece. All right, this is where the interesting part comes in. We are going to start off by opening this piece. We are going to pull this piece off the back. It is going to twirl while also having this piece fold. Or do I turn it backwards? I don't think I do. Yeah, you just put it here like this. You put it there like that. Yeah, okay, wait. Yeah. So, what you got to do, because you're going to be folding a lot more stuff out, you also got to disconnect this chest piece. We are going to get this beautiful chest piece all popped out. You're going to want to fold these little doors out. I guess that's something I kind of wanted to do before I did anything back here with his head. But I do know that it is supposed to very well be hidden in there. So you want something like this. The arms are going to become disconnected. And you kind of just leave them until you get to a certain part in the transformation. But you're going to flip these up, and or knock the chest piece off. Oh no, do not knock the chest piece off. That's not good. You got to fold out these little red pieces along with these little, if the chest piece wasn't in the way, this red piece and the little logos right there. Do the same for the other side. And this is where we kind of get the head reveal. Kind of. Give me a second. Trying to get the good angle of that. And, just flip it out. So it can be, out and about. And you will also bring it up a little bit more. And fold it slightly into place. And boom, and it is ready to be attached to Optimus Prime. If I remember correctly, because there are parts of this that are supposed to attach to Prime. So we are going to just start putting him all together and cinching him up where we can. So we are now going to put the chest to the side. We will start with his feet because, the chest piece is what's going to probably take more time. So, much like before, you flip the heels if you hadn't already. And what you do, you put the little peg pull from his foot into that. There's also this peg that will peg into the hole on the back of his thigh. And then even one of these side pieces are going to plug into this piece right here. So you get such a solid connection for this one shoe. So you plug him in there, you plug him in there, and then you go to the side here and you plug it in. And this feels weirdly satisfying. You fold this down, you plug this into the shin, and then you just plug this over the foot. And if you can, because it is double jointed, so it gets a little... There you go. There we go. Boom. You got one leg for Godfire Convoy, and that is solid. Got a decent ankle pivot. So, a lot of the articulation is going to be very similar. And hey, look he can stand on one boot. But we're going to give him his other shoe. Second verse, same as the first. This might be a little bit more difficult because he has that other shoe on. But there we go. Like I said, peg it in the back and then close it here. And then on the shin, you put this gray bit. And finally, you put in that. And you got some pretty snazzy new shoes. And I think that was actually a pretty easy way to put them on. I guess we'll do the hands next, because you need to plug it into his hand, and then it does a 360. You fold it in like this, and then like that, and then that one, and then you get the one on the bottom. And that is one Omega Prime hand, and he has a lovely Autobot symbol molded into the plastic, which I think looks pretty cool. Second verse, same as the first. Get his hand, turn it 360, fold it so you get the pegs from this peg hole onto those pegs. Boom, fold that in, and fold the bottom in. Boom, you got most of Omega Prime done. So, what you gotta do now, if I can get enough room for this, gotta raise up this camera. We are going to connect this gray piece onto this piece on his chest, and these two slot holes are going to plug into this part. This is all going to connect onto here, and we will cinch things up as we get to it. So first things first, let's get this chest piece on, and we will hopefully have it. I'm realizing I forgot something. I forgot something on Optimus. A very important part, something that had to be fixed. Whoop. That's why things are weird right now. There we go. There you go. Glad I noticed that. I will add that little chest piece back on when we have him all figured out. And we go here like that. Yeah, because this peg is going to peg into this hole right here. So I need him to be a little bit nicer. So I'm going to, oops, oh, okay, I'll reattach those in a second, because like I said, I think you need, okay, this is getting awkward. As you can see what I'm dealing with up there, I have knocked things off. Because I know he needs these pieces, at the very least, are going to fold up back here and kind of just stay there and be nicely tucked away back there. So I know that's where that goes. Also, if I cut certain things out, it's because I have gotten a little confused. So, I have no idea why. And I'm thinking it's because something is just not aligned right. Because that is all possible. Because the chest piece needs to be aligned just right to come together. So let's just take it off, I guess, just so we can figure out what the problem is. So I know it has to do with Magnus's head, because I know it needs to go down like that somehow. Or if you could see it, I'm realizing. So we need it down like this. So we will need to figure out how to connect it down there like that. I think also, give me a second. Alright, so I've realized what I have done wrong. I'm supposed to. We have to go back so many steps. Back all the way, because if he was positioned like this, he needed to be like this. And that is how he gets all hidden away somehow. So, you had to flip his head up. You had to move him into, like, place here. Yep, there you go. And then he will just slide hiddenly into the backpack. Like that. So, that is what I was doing wrong. I forgot to flip Ultra Magnus's head, because you flip it like that. Boom, boom, fold that. And I think it's interesting, actually, how neat Omega Prime uses all of these pieces, because look at, yeah, that head is just perfectly hidden back there now. So, like I said, okay, now to properly finish this Omega Prime. No more chest waist things, hopefully. Put it on, like I said, those two tabs onto his chest piece. If they connect, it's kind of, there's so much stuff going on up there. There we go. I'm realizing I never put these back, which we will need. Where did the other one go? I know it's somewhere. Alright, it flew around a lot more than I thought it did. Okay. So, put that down. Like I said, plug that up. So, put this on the back. And like I said, this tab will tab into this part of the backpack. And boom. It is all cinched up back there. Lift these up. And you can do what I did earlier. Like I said, you can fold the arms ever so nicely behind Omega Prime's back, and it's just cleanly back there, which I think is neat. Like, those arms aren't just hanging out, they're just folded up neatly on his back. So that's pretty cool. And there we go. We are pretty much almost there. Let's fix him up, I guess, a little bit. Get him his... Ooh, this thigh got rotated. I don't know how he did that. So, let's get him back his chest piece. And I'm already going to say this. He looks so good. Got his big wings. Can't really see those red shoulder pads over the chest piece, but they look cool. And we got the head, which you do need to fold up his golden ears. And you have Omega Prime, Godfire Convoy in all of his glory if he didn't fall. Let me see if I can get him all into frame. Look at him. He is great. Everything that was kind of cool about Super Fire Convoy is kind of out to play here. He has all of the same articulation as Super Fire Convoy. Plus technically more, because his hands have jointed fingers. And you can see these 3 little slots are so he can hold the Matrix Blade, which he will mostly like to hold standing perfectly still. And might I add that the head sculpt on Godfire Convoy... Oh, he dropped the sword. Told you, the sword is a little unwieldy, but you can get some pretty cool poses with him. If I am honest, you just gotta work with him. Like on any good toy, you can probably get a good pose out of it as long as you try hard enough. Like I said, there's no way I'm getting that blade all the way in frame. Like, it is huge. And again, he has all the same articulation. If you really wanted to, we can bring the display back. You can have him on a display stand. So you can get him if you really wanted to. It's a little tough, but you can do it. I have done it. You can get some like two-handed poses, which I think is pretty cool if it would stay together. Mine's trying to fall apart. But yeah, you can get him in two-handed matrix blade wielding poses. Like I said, I'm not going to go into the articulation that much. It's the same as Super Fire Convoy, even a little bit of Magnus as well. But this guy looks great. Look at the chest. Looks so good. The head sculpt, I think, looks fantastic. I love the blue chrome eyes. I think this figure looks great. Like, now that we're here, post-fixing the QC, I'm going to just put the sword down. If I'm going to be honest, I'm going to put the sword down. And so I can stop trying to knock over my tripod. Overall, I think this guy could pose great. He doesn't even need the stand, if we're being honest. He can stand on his own 2 feet, pose like a dream. He still has that waist. He has a pretty decent ankle. And, you know, you can get him in some fun poses. You can even get him to hold his little headmaster friend, his little Cerebros or Fortress. I don't know what they called him in the Japanese one. You can have him hold that. But that's pretty much it. Let's bring in some comparisons for Omega Prime. He is a pretty big boy, but he is not the biggest boy in the collection. Now, is he? Let's bring in King Oger. If you followed the channel before, you know pretty how big King Oger is, but he is definitely not the biggest guy, but he's not as tall as Omega Prime. I don't really have any other Transformers big guys nearby for comparison, but here's a Joe Fixit. Marvel Legend. Comes up to his thigh. And again, just because I don't have that many comparisons nearby, here's the Herbie popcorn bucket. Herbie is taller than him. So, you know, don't feel too bad, Omega Prime, that you're not as big as Herbie. So, you know, just go off, Herbie. Don't make Prime feel bad. But you can use blue bolts. So if you take these 2 pegs, and you know that there are pegs on top of here, you can peg her on top and have that classic weapon array that was on the original toy too. So, boom. You can put her all up there, and that doesn't look too bad. That's pretty cool. So you get that. You can probably give them the sword. I'm not going to give him the sword, but overall, I like this toy a lot. I think the Omega Prime mode is a very good standout. It may still... It's hard for me to pick between this and Fire Convoy. Like, this guy is fun to pose around. I've had my fun, especially trying to get him to hold that sword. Overall, I think he looks really good from, like, the bottom to the top. He is amazing. Like, again, it sucks that Fire Convoy had the biggest issue. And if I'm being honest, I think it's a good idea that they made it easier to make Magnus the armor than it was the truck. Like, you saw me record the video. You saw how I felt. I think Magnus... Omega Prime isn't anything without Magnus, but if we were just to have gotten Fire Convoy and with the super stuff, I don't think I would have minded if we missed this. I would still want this, because look at this. Again, look at those eyes. The sculpting on this is really cool, and I just think he's a ton of fun, and like, it's fun that he's a combiner that can actually pose and do some of the stuff that he did in the anime. And like, it kind of sucks that you just have a whole other like fire convoy mode just kind of sitting in the background. Like I do just kind of have the super fire convoy stuff over here, but I don't know. I just think this guy looks really cool. I don't regret getting the HasLab. I know there's probably a ton of people who are probably out there being like, oh, for something that was $250 with the fix I had to do and take it apart myself, that this wasn't worth it and this was terrible. And if that's how you feel, I can't make you change your mind on that. But if we're going to go with how I feel on Omega Prime, just for me, I think he's a ton of fun. I think he's fun to form, whether it be his regular robot mode, his super mode, his combined mode with God Magnus. Like, I think Magnus really does walk for Super Fire Convoy and Godfire Convoy to be amazing. Like, it kind of is funny to say that. Like, if I'm going to be displaying this guy, I have no idea if I'm going to have like any form. I don't know what form I really do want to go to. I think all of them look really good. Like, I don't think I'm going to be putting Magnus back into truck mode anytime soon. And honestly, after this review, he might just sit as Omega Prime because he looks amazing. And I think he's just really nice. And like his back is, it's not perfect. There's still like stuff hanging off his back, but it's neat. It's contained. It's like it's not super noticeable, and he can just pose really well, which I think goes with a lot. Like, he's fun to play with, and I'm glad that a Transformer that was this expensive is fun to play with. Like, the fact that I love putting him in both Super Mode and Omega Prime mode, or Godfire Convoy mode, is super fun and super good. Like, what do you guys think? If you guys didn't pick him up, do you guys regret not picking him up? I don't know. It's like this guy fulfills a lot for me. I think he's a ton of fun. I have no regrets with him. Like I've honestly been liking the anime. I have been watching it since I've picked him up. I want to know more about him, like how to pose, how to get him in some good poses, like some good poses from the show and everything too. And like I said, it's a bummer that he had to be riddled with a very detrimental, like, thing that you need to fix. But once you get over that, once you get him and you get to play with him and get to enjoy him, pose him around, make him come to life with your poses, it is angering. It frustrated me, as you saw, but like, I don't care now. I fixed it. He's been a dream and everything else to work with. I think he's a fun toy, and I'm glad to have him in my collection. And I think I can recommend him, honestly. If you can do the fix, if you are willing to risk that, if you're willing to spend the money, he is nothing you would regret purchasing, in my opinion. Yes, it has a lot of if you have to do it yourself kind of things, or your own personal biases, but this guy looks good. He holds together. I am shaking him, and he is holding together. Like, I don't even know if the original can say it could have done that. He came a little bit apart, but like, he himself was still standing. And I think how you form the boots is a ton of fun, and the armor on the chest and everything is so good, nice chrome, and again, the head sculpt. I can keep rambling on, but I think Godfire Convoy is an absolute win. If you are a Car Robots fan, if you're a fan of Transformers, and you can get this guy and do what he needs you to do, he's going to be worth it in spades, in my opinion. I like him a lot. Is he going to be my figure of the year? I don't know. He's actually one of the few figures I've actually gotten. But, I don't know. I do like this guy a lot. And, I don't know what else to say outside of that. So, yeah. What do you guys think of Omega Prime? Tell me down in the comments. What was your favorite moments from Car Robots? Like I said, I'm only like 6-7 episodes in. So I haven't seen that much, but honestly, it's just so funny how, like, anime early 2000s it feels, and I kind of love it for it. But yeah, again, this guy just looks so good. God, it makes me kind of laugh that I can't remember that I was angry at him not too long ago. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed me covering Godfire Convoy or Omega Prime, and watch whatever else I do. I don't know what else I'm going to be covering. I might cover that Herbie popcorn bucket, or maybe that popcorn bucket came out first. Who knows? Only I know. Only I do. But thank you so much for watching, and until whatever I do next, bye-bye!